The day Earth's perception of its place in the universe changed forever started like any other. It was the automated deep space monitoring station on Mars that first detected the anomaly, a massive cluster of objects decelerating at the edge of the solar system. Dr. James Walker was sipping his morning coffee at NASA's control center when the alert came through. His eyes widened as he studied the readings. These weren't asteroids or natural phenomena. The objects were moving with purpose, adjusting their course in ways that defied natural physics. "Get me confirmation from all our deep space arrays," he ordered, his voice steady despite his racing heart. Within minutes, observatories across Earth and Mars confirmed the same thing. Over 200 massive vessels had entered the solar system. The next few hours were chaos. Government leaders worldwide were awakened from their sleep, military forces went on high alert, and astronomers everywhere turned their instruments toward the incoming fleet. The vessels were enormous, each one nearly the size of a small city. Then came the signal. It wasn't hostile. It wasn't a declaration of war or an ultimatum. It was a cry for help. The message was broadcast on multiple frequencies, using basic mathematical principles to establish communication. The alien ship's universal translators quickly adapted to Earth's languages, revealing the desperate situation of the fleet. "This is Fleet Commander Tom of the Stellar Assembly." The translated message stated, "We carry 3.2 million refugees from the bright star system. Our quantum drive systems are critically failing. We request immediate assistance. Without help, our life support systems will begin to fail within 3 Earth months." The United Nations called an emergency session. Representatives from every nation gathered to address this unprecedented situation. The debate was intense. Some argue for caution, others for immediate action. But as more data came in about the fleet's condition, one thing became clear. If humanity didn't help, millions would die in Earth's cosmic backyard. Dr. Walker and his team worked around the clock, analyzing the technical data the aliens had shared. The quantum drives that powered their ships were incredibly advanced, but something had gone wrong during their long journey. The entire fleet was affected by some kind of radiation damage that their own engineers couldn't fix. The aliens had chosen Earth for a simple reason. Their long-range scans had detected humanity's growing space presence and industrial capability. While Earth's technology wasn't as advanced as theirs, the aliens had hoped humans might approach the problem from a different angle. A week after first contact, the first human delegation traveled to the alien fleet. The meeting took place on the flagship, where Fleet Commander Tom welcomed the Earth representatives. He was a tall, humanoid being with silvery skin and 4 arms, but his eyes showed the same worry any human leader would have for their people. The human engineers were both amazed and concerned by what they found. The alien ships were marvels of technology, but their complexity had become their weakness. When their quantum drives began failing, the interconnected systems started breaking down in ways their builders had never anticipated. "Our engineers have tried everything," Tom explained to the human delegation. "Our technology is supposed to be self-repairing, but something in this region of space has affected it in ways we don't understand. We need a different perspective." As the human engineers studied the problem, they began to see something the aliens had missed. Sometimes, newer and more complex didn't mean better. Sometimes, the simple solutions were the best ones. By the end of that first month, Earth had committed to helping the stranded fleet. It would be the biggest engineering challenge humanity had ever faced, but it was also an opportunity to prove that humanity's practical approach to problems had value, even in a universe of advanced technology. The stage was set for what would become known as Operation Salvation, humanity's first major contribution to galactic civilization. As Dr. Walker looked out at the massive alien ships glinting in the sunlight, he couldn't help but smile. Humanity had always dreamed of proving itself to the stars. Now they had their chance, not through war or competition, but by doing what humans did best, solving problems and helping others. Little did anyone know, This was just the beginning of a much greater adventure. The engineering team from Earth gathered in the massive engine room of the alien flagship. The quantum drive system towered above them like a gleaming crystal cathedral, its intricate parts pulsing with a faint blue light. Dr. Walker and his lead engineer, Mike Thompson, studied the holographic diagnostics floating in the air. "This is unlike anything we've ever seen," Mike said, reaching out to rotate the 3D display. "Their quantum drive doesn't just bend space. It weaves through multiple dimensions simultaneously." The alien engineer, who they called Ray due to his luminescent skin, watched them with all four of his eyes. "The drive system is failing across all ships in exactly the same way. We've lost 40% efficiency, and it's getting worse." Mike pulled out an old-fashioned paper notebook and started sketching. The alien engineers had found this habit strange at first, but they'd grown used to the humans' primitive methods. What they didn't understand was that sometimes breaking down a complex problem into simple drawings could reveal solutions that advanced computers missed. As Mike sketched, Dr. Walker noticed something odd in the radiation readings. "These energy patterns, they remind me of something we saw in our early fusion experiments." The human team spent the next week studying the quantum drives. They brought in basic radiation detection equipment, technology that seemed ancient compared to the alien sensors. But these simple tools showed something the advanced alien systems had overlooked. "Look at this," Mike said during their daily briefing. He held up a piece of film that had been exposed to the drive's radiation. "The pattern isn't random. It's cyclic." The alien engineers gathered around, their silver skin reflecting the engine room's lights. Mike explained his theory using simple terms and more sketches. The quantum drives were being affected by a type of radiation that existed in the space between dimensions. The aliens' advanced sensors couldn't detect it because they were too precise. They filtered out what they considered background noise. "It's like trying to hear a whisper while wearing noise-canceling headphones," Mike explained. "Your technology is so good at blocking out interference that it's missing the important signals." The breakthrough came when they tested a hybrid monitoring system. They connected basic human radiation sensors to the alien quantum computers. The results were immediate. They could finally see the full picture of what was happening to the drives. The radiation was causing tiny fractures in the quantum field, like cracks in a windshield. The aliens' self-repairing systems couldn't fix the problem because they couldn't detect it properly. But now that they could see it, they could work on a solution. Dr. Walker proposed something radical. "What if we reinforced the quantum field with a conventional magnetic containment system, similar to what we use in our fusion reactors?" The aliens were skeptical. Using primitive magnetic fields to protect their advanced quantum technology seemed like trying to fix a quantum computer with duct tape, but they were running out of options. The team built a prototype, combining human magnetic containment technology with the alien quantum systems. It wasn't elegant. The human components looked crude next to the alien technology, but when they activated it, the quantum field stabilized. "The magnetic field acts like a shield," Mike explained to the amazed alien engineers. "It's not stopping the radiation, but it's giving your self-repair systems time to work properly." The aliens still seemed unsure. Their entire civilization was built on the principle that newer and more advanced technology was always better. The idea that a solution could come from simpler, older technology challenged their fundamental beliefs. Fleet Commander Tom made the final decision. "If this works, we'll need to modify over 200 ships. Can Earth provide the necessary equipment?" Dr. Walker nodded. "We'll need to adapt our fusion containment technology for space installation, but it's doable. We can start production immediately." As the human team left the engine room that day, they could feel the aliens' attitudes beginning to change. The looks of doubt were being replaced by something new: respect. Humanity might not have mastered quantum physics or dimensional travel, but they understood something equally valuable. Sometimes the best solutions are the simple ones. The real work was just beginning, but they had found their path forward. Now they just had to hope they could implement it in time. The United Nations Space Center buzzed with activity as engineers and officials gathered for the presentation of what they called the impossible plan. On the main screen, Mike Thompson stood next to a simplified model of their proposed solution. We need to retrofit 217 alien ships with modified Earth-based fusion containment systems, he announced to the packed room. Each ship will require approximately 1,000 tons of specialized equipment. We estimate it will take all of Earth's major manufacturing facilities working around the clock to produce what we need. The room erupted in concerned murmurs. Fleet Commander Tom stood at the back, his silver skin gleaming under the fluorescent lights, watching the humans debate among themselves. That's nearly 250,000 tons of equipment we need to manufacture and launch into space, one official pointed out. Our current space lift capacity can't handle that. Dr. Walker stepped forward. Which is why we're going to build the components on Earth and assemble them in space. The aliens have agreed to provide their cargo ships to help with transport. The plan was ambitious, perhaps crazy. They would convert several of Earth's fusion reactor manufacturing plants to produce the specialized containment systems. Meanwhile, space stations would be modified into assembly points where human workers would prepare the equipment for installation. We've never attempted anything on this scale, said the Chinese representative. The logistics alone. Then we'll learn, Mike interrupted. Because if we don't try, millions will die in our solar system. I don't think humanity wants that on its conscience. To demonstrate their solution, the team had prepared a test. They had modified a small alien shuttle with their hybrid system. As the gathered officials watched, the shuttle powered up its quantum drive. The holographic displays showed the radiation levels, stable, protected by the human-designed magnetic shield. The alien engineers in attendance couldn't hide their surprise. One of them, who humans called Ray, spoke up. We still find it difficult to believe that such basic technology could work with our quantum systems, but the evidence is undeniable. The next few hours were spent discussing logistics. Every major nation would need to contribute. Factories would need to be converted, workers trained, and new space installation procedures developed. The scale of the project was daunting, but there was also a sense of excitement in the room. Think about what this means, Dr. Walker said to the assembly. We're not just saving these refugees. We're proving that humanity has something valuable to offer to an advanced galactic civilization. The alien representatives have been quietly observing the human discussions. Their own society, for all its technological advancement, had never faced a challenge quite like this. They were used to having machines and automated systems solve their problems. Watching humans attack the problem with such determined creativity was eye-opening. Fleet Commander Tom finally spoke. When we chose to seek help from Earth, many thought we were making a mistake. They said humans were too primitive, too inexperienced in space operations. But we're seeing something here that our civilization has perhaps forgotten: the value of approaching problems from new angles. The vote to proceed was unanimous. Within hours, factories across Earth began retooling their production lines. Space agencies started training programs for zero-gravity assembly work. The greatest engineering project in human history was about to begin. As the meeting ended, Mike found himself standing next to Ray, looking out a window at the night sky where the alien fleet waited. You know, Ray said, in all our years of space travel, we've never had to modify our ships like this. The idea of using what we considered obsolete technology would never have occurred to us. Mike smiled. Sometimes the old ways work best. Besides, we're not just using old technology. We're creating something new by combining your knowledge with ours. Above them, the first transport ships were already launching, carrying the initial components into space. Earth's night sky was busier than it had ever been, lit by the constant traffic of vessels moving between the planet and the stranded fleet. The impossible plan was underway. Now they just had to make it work. 1 month into Operation Salvation, alarms blared across the alien fleet. Life support systems on 3 refugee ships had dropped to critical levels. The quantum drive failures were spreading faster than predicted. Inside the flagship's control room, Mike Thompson watched the emergency indicators flash red. "How many people on those ships?" he asked, his voice tense. 45,000 on each vessel." Fleet Commander Tom replied. "We're moving the most vulnerable to other ships, but we're running out of space." The race against time had become desperate. Earth's factories were working at maximum capacity, but the equipment production was barely keeping up with the fleet's deteriorating condition. The human engineers had to find ways to work faster. Dr. Walker called an emergency meeting with the project leaders. "We need to change our approach," he announced, pulling up new schematics on the holographic display. "Instead of building complete systems on Earth, we'll switch to modular components. Smaller pieces we can transport and assemble more quickly." The new plan was risky. Working with smaller components meant more assembly work in space, where human engineers were still learning to handle the challenging conditions. But they had no choice. On Earth, factories switched to the new production model. Assembly lines that had been building complete containment units now focused on producing thousands of identical modules. It wasn't elegant, but it was faster. In space, human workers adapted to their new reality. They learned to weld in zero gravity, to handle complex equipment while floating in spacesuits, and to work alongside alien maintenance robots. The learning curve was steep, and mistakes were made, but they kept going. "Watch your orbit path," Mike called out to a team installing modules on a refugee ship. He monitored their work from a makeshift control center, coordinating dozens of installation teams spread across the fleet. "Remember, the alien ship's gravity fields can pull you off course." The human workers had developed their own techniques for space construction. While the aliens relied on automated systems, the humans found that direct hands-on work often proved faster and more adaptable. They created new tools, invented new procedures, and solved problems on the fly. One worker, Paul Davis, discovered that standard Earth welding techniques actually worked better on the alien hull materials than the aliens' own repair methods. The discovery led to a complete revision of their installation procedures, saving precious hours on each ship. The alien engineers watched in amazement as human workers improvised solutions to problems their own civilization had never encountered. They had never needed to modify their ships in space before. Their technology was designed to be self-maintaining. "Your people are remarkably adaptable," Ray commented to Dr. Walker as they observed a team installing magnetic containment rings. "We would have considered this kind of manual labor beneath us, but your workers seem to take pride in it." "Humans have always been good at hands-on work," Dr. Walker replied. "It's in our nature to want to fix things ourselves." The pace was exhausting. Teams worked in shifts around the clock, racing to stabilize ships before their systems failed completely. Earth's orbital stations became busy construction hubs, with constant traffic between them and the alien fleet. But the hard work was paying off. The first fully retrofitted ships showed significant improvement in their quantum drive stability. The radiation shielding was working better than they had hoped, and the aliens' self-repair systems were finally able to function properly. Then came a breakthrough from an unexpected source. A team of workers discovered that they could use the aliens' own maintenance tunnels to pre-position equipment inside the ships. This simple observation cut installation time by nearly half. "Sometimes the best solutions are right in front of us," Mike said during a progress briefing. "We just have to be willing to look at things differently." As the fourth month of operations drew to a close, they had successfully modified nearly a quarter of the fleet. It wasn't fast enough to make anyone comfortable, but it was progress. Every stabilized ship meant thousands of lives secured. In the void of space, human workers continued their relentless pace, their headlamps creating constellations of moving lights across the hulls of alien ships. They were writing a new chapter in human history, one weld at a time. The impossible task was slowly becoming possible. After months of continuous work, something unexpected began happening throughout the alien fleet. It started with small things. Alien crew members asking human workers to show them how to use manual tools, watching with interest as humans solved problems through trial and error. In the flagship's main engineering bay, Ray was examining a repaired section of hull where Paul Davis had used a modified earth welding technique. "I don't understand," Ray said. "Our automated repair systems are far more precise, yet your method has created a stronger bond." Paul wiped sweat from his forehead. "Sometimes precision isn't everything. This way lets the metal flex a bit, makes it less likely to crack under stress." The aliens were beginning to see that human methods, while appearing crude at first glance, had their own kind of sophistication. They watched as human workers used simple mechanical tools to achieve results that their advanced technology sometimes couldn't match. During meal breaks, human workers and alien crew members started sharing their knowledge. The aliens taught humans about quantum physics and dimensional theory, while the humans explained practical engineering concepts that the aliens had long ago abandoned in favor of automation. "Your people have something we lost generations ago," Fleet Commander Tom told Dr. Walker during an inspection of a newly retrofitted ship. "You understand how things work at a fundamental level. We've become so dependent on our technology that we've forgotten the basics." The cultural exchange went beyond just technical knowledge. Human workers introduced the aliens to concepts like improvisation and thinking outside the box. The aliens, in turn, shared stories of their travels across the galaxy. One day, Mike Thompson was struggling with a particularly difficult installation when he had an idea. He asked the aliens about their maintenance robot's basic programming. Within hours, they had reprogrammed several robots to work alongside human teams, combining alien precision with human adaptability. "It's not about whose technology is better," Mike explained during a project meeting. "It's about finding the best way to use both." The success of this hybrid approach led to more experiments. Human engineers began incorporating alien sensor technology into their tools, while alien systems were modified to be more user-friendly for human operators. Each breakthrough made their work more efficient. In the refugee sections of the ships, aliens watched with curiosity as human workers took time to interact with their children, explaining their work in simple terms and even letting the young ones examine safe tools and equipment. This personal touch was something their society had largely forgotten. "We've always valued efficiency above all else," Ray explained to Paul during a shared break. "Watching your people work has reminded us that there's value in the journey, not just the destination." The hybrid human-alien drive system they had created was proving more stable than anyone had expected. The primitive magnetic containment fields, when combined with the quantum drive technology, created a synergy that neither civilization had anticipated. Dr. Walker found himself giving regular lectures to alien engineers about Earth's technological history. They were particularly fascinated by how humans had solved complex problems with limited resources. "Your species turned limitations into advantages," an alien engineer observed. "When you couldn't build something complex, you found elegant, simple solutions instead." The project was still far from complete, but the atmosphere throughout the fleet had changed. What had started as a desperate rescue operation had become a valuable exchange of knowledge and culture. During a test of a newly modified ship, something remarkable happened. The hybrid drive system didn't just match the original performance specifications, it exceeded them. The combination of human and alien technology had created something new, something better than either civilization had achieved alone. "Perhaps," Fleet Commander Tom said as they reviewed the test results, "this is why the universe made us all different. Not so one civilization could be superior to another, but so we could learn from each other." As the work continued, more ships were successfully modified. Each success brought not just relief, but a deeper understanding between the two species. The aliens were beginning to see that humanity's primitive approach to problem-solving was actually one of its greatest strengths. What had started as a rescue mission was becoming something more. The beginning of a partnership that would benefit both civilizations. The crisis struck without warning. Deep in the heart of the alien flagship, a quantum fluctuation cascaded through the partially modified drive system. Warning alarms screamed across the entire fleet as the disruption began affecting nearby ships. "All personnel, clear the engine sections." Mike Thompson's voice boomed through the communication systems. "We had a Level 1 quantum cascade failure." Dr. Walker rushed to the emergency control center, where Fleet Commander Tom was already coordinating with his officers. The holographic displays showed a spreading web of energy distortions connecting ship after ship. "The quantum fields are collapsing," Ray reported, his silver skin pulsing with anxiety. "If we don't contain this, we could lose half the fleet in hours." This was exactly the kind of disaster the aliens had feared when they agreed to let humans modify their ships. But instead of panic, they watched in amazement as the human emergency response kicked into gear. "Everyone quiet," Mike shouted. "This is just like the Hudson River reactor incident back on Earth. We can handle this." He turned to the alien engineers. "We need to shut down all quantum drives in a 30-kilometer radius. Now." The aliens hesitated. Shutting down that many drives simultaneously had never been attempted. But they had learned to trust human instincts, and they acted quickly. As the drives powered down, Paul Davis led a team of human workers directly into the danger zone. They wore modified spacesuits equipped with both human and alien sensor technology, letting them see the quantum distortions. "The magnetic containment field is holding," Paul reported as they reached the source of the cascade. "But the quantum field is still unstable. We need to reset the whole system." Dr. Walker watched the readings from the control center. What they were attempting was incredibly dangerous. One wrong move could trigger a reaction that would tear the ships apart. "Remember your disaster response training," he told the teams through the comm system. "Work the problem step by step. Don't rush." The human workers moved with practiced efficiency. Years of dealing with nuclear reactor emergencies and industrial disasters had taught humanity how to handle crisis situations. They had procedures, backup plans, and most importantly, the ability to improvise when those plans failed. In the engine room, Hall's team discovered that the quantum cascade had created a kind of knot in spacetime. The aliens' automated systems couldn't fix it because they weren't programmed for this kind of failure. "We need to stabilize it manually," Paul announced. "Just like untangling a power line, but with quantum fields." Using their hybrid tools and pure human intuition, the team began the delicate process of containing the cascade. They worked in perfect sync, each person knowing their role, communicating in the short, clear sentences they'd learned during emergency training. The aliens watched in stunned silence as these primitive beings handled advanced quantum technology with the calm efficiency of seasoned professionals. The human capacity to function under extreme pressure was something their civilization had never quite mastered. Hours passed in tense concentration. Ship after ship was stabilized. The quantum cascade slowly brought under control. When the final readings showed the crisis was over, cheers erupted from both humans and aliens. "I don't understand," Ray said to Mike as they reviewed the incident data. "How did you know what to do? We've never encountered this type of failure before." Mike smiled tiredly. "On Earth, we deal with disasters regularly. Earthquakes, floods, nuclear accidents. We've learned that panic doesn't help. You stay calm, use what you know, and trust your training." The crisis had revealed something important about humanity. While the aliens had superior technology, humans had something equally valuable: the ability to handle the unexpected, to keep functioning when systems failed and plans fell apart. Fleet Commander Tom called a meeting of all project leaders. "Today has proven something," he announced. "The combination of our technologies and human crisis management skills has made this fleet safer than it ever was before." As the emergency teams returned to their quarters for well-deserved rest, Dr. Walker looked out at the fleet, now stable and quiet against the backdrop of space. The crisis had been terrifying, but it had proven that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in its technology, but in its ability to face the unknown, with courage and adaptability. They had passed the ultimate test. Now, nothing seemed impossible. 6 months after the first alien ships appeared at the edge of the solar system, The last retrofitted vessel powered up its hybrid drive system. In the flagship's observation deck, Dr. Walker, Mike Thompson, and Fleet Commander Tom watched as the final readings came in. All ships report stable quantum fields, Ray announced, his silver skin glowing with what humans had learned to recognize as joy. The fleet is ready for departure. The completion of Operation Salvation marked more than just a successful rescue mission. The project had fundamentally changed both civilizations. The hybrid drive systems they had created were more efficient than either the original alien technology or Earth's fusion systems alone. "Your people have given us more than just repairs," Fleet Commander Tom said, turning to Dr. Walker. "You've shown us a new way of thinking about technology and problem-solving." The aliens had already begun implementing human-inspired modifications across their fleet. Manual override systems were being installed, crews were being trained in emergency procedures, and their automated systems were being redesigned to be more user-friendly. In return, the aliens had shared knowledge that would advance Earth's technology by decades. But more importantly, they offered humanity something it had long dreamed of: a place among the stars. "The Stellar Assembly has reviewed our reports," Tom announced during the final ceremony. "They voted unanimously to establish a permanent technological exchange program with Earth. Your world will be granted full trading rights with all assembly worlds." The news sparked celebrations across Earth. Humanity had proven itself not through military might or advanced technology, but through its unique approach to solving problems and handling crisis. Paul Davis, now heading the new Human-Alien Engineering Corps, stood with his alien colleagues as they planned future projects. "We'll need to establish training centers," he said, "places where both our species can learn from each other." The aliens had already begun modifying their engineering academy programs to include what they now called human practical methods. The term made the human engineers laugh, but it represented a significant shift in alien thinking. "Sometimes the best way forward is to take a step back," Ray told a group of alien students. "The humans taught us that complexity isn't always the answer." As preparations for the fleet's departure began, Earth's governments and the Stellar Assembly signed the first interstellar cooperation treaties. The agreements included plans for joint research stations, cultural exchange programs, and mutual defense pacts. Mike Thompson found himself looking at the modified engine designs with pride. "It's funny," he said to Dr. Walker. "When this all started, we thought we were just fixing their ships. Instead, we've built a bridge between our civilizations." The day of departure arrived with mixed emotions. Many friendships had formed between the two species during the long months of work. The aliens, once seen as impossibly advanced beings, had become colleagues and friends. Fleet Commander Tom addressed the assembled human workers one last time. "You came to our aid when we were in need. You showed us that true advancement isn't just about technology. It's about wisdom, creativity, and the courage to try new approaches. Earth will always have friends among the stars." As the massive fleet prepared to depart, they no longer used just their quantum drives. Each ship now carried a piece of human innovation, a hybrid system that represented the best of both worlds. Dr. Walker watched from Earth's new space station as the ships activated their drives. The sight of hundreds of vessels, their hybrid systems glowing with combined human and alien technology, was breathtaking. "This isn't an ending," he said to the gathered observers. "It's a beginning." The fleet disappeared into the depths of space, but they left behind more than just technology. They left a changed Earth, a planet now certain of its place in the galaxy. Humanity had proven that it had something valuable to offer the universe. In the years that followed, human engineers would work alongside alien technicians throughout the galaxy. Earth's practical approach to problem-solving became highly valued across alien worlds. The hybrid technology they had created together would revolutionize space travel. But perhaps the most important legacy was the lesson learned by both civilizations, that true progress comes not from believing in the superiority of one way of thinking, but from the willingness to learn from others, to combine the old with the new, and to face challenges with open minds and determined hearts. The stars were no longer just distant lights. They were the beginning of humanity's next great adventure.